Hello friends, welcome to our last and final class on SCF and LCM. In this class, we would be discussing the problems which involve remainders and SCF and LCM. So in some ways, these are the most important class of problems which come in all competitive examinations. Okay, so let's get started. So this is just a brief recap. In the previous two classes, we have discussed the methods of finding SCF and LCM and some of the techniques which we can use to speed up our calculation. In the last class, we discussed some critical keywords which allow us to quickly identify LCM and SCF problems. For example, minimum, least, smallest, these denote LCM. If your problem has maximum, most, longest, if your problem involves these keywords, these would typically be SCF problems. So let's move on to today's class. We'll start with four types of remainder problems which can be solved using SCF. So I have classified them into four types, and if you understand these four basic types, you should be able to solve all SCF remainder problems. So the first kind is really simple, it's very basic. So what this kind of problems, what they ask us to do is they ask us to find the greatest number which divides a given set of numbers. And by the very definition, the greatest number which can divide all the given set of numbers is their SCF. So in this case, if I take a simple example of 12, 18 and 30, the number which would divide, the greatest number which would divide these three numbers would be its SCF. And SCF of 12, 18, 30 is nothing but 6. So you can do this calculation yourself, and 6 would be that number. It's the greatest number which would divide all of these three numbers, 12, 18 and 30. Moving on to next problem, which is slightly more interesting. In these kind of problems, we are given a fixed remainder, a constant remainder r, okay, and this remainder is given to us, a constant remainder r, which comes when we divide. So we have to find that number, right? When we divide x, y and z, a given set of numbers by this number, we always get the same remainder r. So let's take a small example. Let's try to find out the largest number which when that number divides 14, 20 and 32, that is when 14, 20 and 32 are divided by that number. So we have to find that number. In each case, we are left with remainder 2. So now our number, when 14 is divided by that number, we are left with remainder of 2. So that number should completely divide 14 minus 2 equal to 12. So that number, if it completely divides 12, when we divide 14 by that number, we will be left with remainder of 2. Similarly, this number, okay, should completely divide 20 minus 2, which is equal to 18, and this number should completely divide 32 minus 2, which is equal to 30. Only when this number would completely divide 30, we would be left with a remainder of 2 when 32 is divided by this number. So we have to find a number which completely divides 12, 18 and 30. And this number which completely divides 12, 18 and 30 would leave a remainder 2 when 14, 20 and 32 are divided by this number. Okay. So what would be the number, the largest number which completely divides 12, 18 and 30? We know it would be the SCF of 12, 18 and 30. We already know is 6. So 6 is the number. When 14 is divided by 6, we are left with remainder 2. 20 is divided by 6, 6 3s are 18, we are left with remainder of 2. And when 32 is divided by 6, we are left with remainder 2. It's very simple. Let's move on to the next problem. Now in this case, it's very similar to the last problem that we discussed, but in this case, we are only told that we are not given this remainder r. Okay, we are only told to find the greatest number which divides given set of numbers x, y and z, and it leaves, in each case, it leaves the same remainder. That's all we are given. We are told that the remainder is same. This remainder, the same remainder, this is not given to us. Okay. So let's take the same problem and we try to solve it now. So in this case, we already know that the answer to this problem is 6. Okay, so 6 is the number which 14, 20 and 32 are, when each of these is divided by 6, we get a remainder of 2. So we already know that, okay. But let's try to solve this problem again, assuming that the same remainder 2 is not given to us. So the way to solve it is, what we do is we take difference of 14 and 20, we take difference of 20 and 32, okay, we take difference, and we take difference of 32 and 14. So which is 14 minus 20 is 6, okay, we ignore the sign, we don't take sign into account at all. We take 20 minus 32, which is 12, and again we take the difference between 14 and 32, which is 18, okay. So, and we find the SCF of this difference, okay. So instead of finding the SCF of these numbers, we find the SCF of the difference between consecutive numbers, okay. And the SCF of these numbers we already know, or we don't already know, but we can quickly find the SCF of these numbers. The number which would divide all of these numbers, the largest number which would divide all of these numbers, is 6. So we get the answer, okay. And the reason why this works is because if you think, right, if you concentrate a little bit, you would realize that the common remainder, okay, when we subtract 14 and 20, the common remainder cancels out, and the resulting number, in this case 6, okay, should be divisible by the greatest number that we are trying to find. Similarly, the common remainder between 20 and 32 would cancel out, it just cancels out, and we are left with a number which is completely divisible by this number that we are trying to find. And similarly for this last subtraction also, okay. Like in other words, 14 I can write as, so to think of this in another way, the reason why this works, why this difference thing works, is because 14 is nothing but 2 into 6 plus 2. Similarly 20 is nothing but 3 into 6 plus 2, 6, right? And when I find the difference, I cancel out this common remainder, okay. When I find the difference between 14 and 20, when I find the difference, I cancel out the common remainder, and what I am left with here, right, what I am left with here, this number is 100% divisible by my SCF, the greatest number that I am trying to find out, okay. This remainder term, it cancels out in each of these differences. So that's why this works, okay. So I'll give you the formula for each of these, right. I have a summary where you can again look at the formula, okay. But what we have done is essentially we have found the SCF of the difference between these numbers, right. Let's move on to the next problem. In this case, again we are given a set of numbers. We have to find out a number which divides those numbers, and in each case it leaves different remainders, right? So when we have to find out a number which when divides x leaves remainder a, when it divides y it leaves remainder b, and when it divides z it leaves remainder c. So again let's look at this example. Let's understand this with an example. We are trying to find out the greatest number which divides 12, 18 and 30, and it leaves the remainder 2, 3 and 0, okay. So when 12 is divided by that number, I get a remainder of 2. Therefore 12 minus 2 should be fully divisible by that number. Similarly 18 minus 3 should be completely divisible by that number. That only then, when 18 is divided by that number, I'll get a remainder of 3. Similarly 30 minus 0 or 30 should be completely divisible by that number, okay. So what I am trying to find out, essentially what this problem is asking me to find out, is asking me to find out the number the largest number which can fully divide 12 minus 2, 18 minus 3 and 30. which is nothing but SCF of these numbers. So SCF of 12 minus 2, 10, 15 and 30. And we know the SCF of these numbers, right? We can quickly find out the SCF, the common factor, the largest number which can divide all of these three numbers is nothing but 5. So 5 would be that number which when divides 12 it leaves a remainder of 2. When it divides 18 it leaves a remainder 3, and when it divides 30 it leaves a remainder 0. Very simple. Okay. So now this is the summary of the 4 problem types, and this you should remember. Okay, so we understand it from our last 4 slides, right? I tried to explain it to you, but at the end of the day you should remember these 4 formulas, okay, to quickly apply them. You should understand them, but you should also be able to remember these and quickly apply these. So let's revise them. Greatest number which divides x, y and z, this we already know, very simple. It's by definition the SCF of x, y and z. Greatest number which divides x, y and z and leaves the same remainder r, of course, would be x minus r, the SCF of x minus r, y minus r and z minus r. Only when x minus r, y minus r, z minus r are completely divisible by our number, right? Only when these are completely divisible by our number, we would get a remainder of r when the number divides x, y and z. Very simple. Now the greatest number which divides x, y and z and leaves same remainder, in this case the same remainder r, this remainder r, this is not given to me. Okay, so what I do is I eliminate this remainder r, I eliminate it by finding the consequent or the consecutive difference between consecutive numbers. So I find the SCF of difference between x and y and z and x, and this sign, this is absolute value sign, and what this tells me is to ignore minus, right? If the result of this one is a negative number, I simply ignore the negative sign. That's all it's trying to tell me. Okay, so very simple. And the last thing is the greatest number which divides x, y and z and leaves different remainders a, b and c is nothing but SCF of x minus a, y minus b and z minus c. The SCF, the highest common factor of these 3 numbers, x minus a, y minus b and z minus c, would give me a remainder of a, b and c when when I divide x, y and z, right, this number by this SCF. Very simple. One more thing I want to point out is this 2 is just a special case. This is just a special case. This 2 is just a special case of 4. So if you remember 4 and what the difference between 2 and 4, instead of a, b and c, I have a single remainder r, right? So if I substitute a is equal to r, b is equal to r and c is equal to r, I get this formula. So I don't really have to remember 2. So I have to remember only 1, 3 and 4. As long as I remember these 3 formula, I can solve all SCF problems. Okay, I can solve all SCF problems involving remainders. Now moving on to LCM. Again, I have divided the LCM problems involving remainders into 4 types. Again, we will start with the simplest kind of problem by definition. Okay. So I have to find the smallest number which is divisible by all of these numbers. As soon as I say, so notice the keyword divisible here. Okay. Let's go back. In the SCF problems, I always have this keyword divides, right? I have to find the number which divides the given numbers, which completely divides these numbers. Okay, so I am looking at a factor, and that's why these are SCF problems. In the LCM problem, I have to find numbers which are divisible by x, y and z. Okay, so I am trying to find out number which is divisible, and that's why I am looking at multiples. So this should tell us that this is a LCM or a multiple problem. Okay, so this is simple. This is by definition. The smallest number which is divisible by x, y and z, which is divisible by a given set of number, is nothing but the LCM. So with a simple example, if I have to find the smallest number which is divisible by 6, 9 and 12, all these 3, I have to find a number which is divisible by all of these 3 numbers. What would be that? Nothing but LCM of 6, 9 and 12. And this you know, very quickly you can find out what is the LCM of 6, 9 and 12. It is nothing but 36. Very simple. 6 is a 36, 9 for the 36, 12 is a 36. Okay, so 36 is divisible by all of these three numbers. Moving on to next example. Now, this is not really a problem of, it is problem of LCM. It starts with us finding the LCM, but we have to go a little further. Okay. So not only I have been asked to find a number which is divisible by x, y and z. Okay, I have to find that number, of course, but I have to also find, there is another condition on that number. It should be of some number of digits. For example, it should be a number of 3 digits, it should be a number of 4 digits, and then I have to look at this another keyword. It should either be a smallest or largest number of 3 digits or 4 digits. Okay, so let's try to solve this problem using an example. Let's try to understand this problem using an example. So let's take the same three numbers, 6, 9 and 12. Okay, and I know the LCM of these three numbers is 36, and I have been asked to find, let's start with this smallest. First try to find the smallest number of 3 digits which is divisible by 6, 9 and 12. What is the smallest number, like smallest possible number of 3 digits? 100. Okay, this is the smallest possible number of 3 digits, because before 100 comes 99, which is only of 2 digits. Okay, this is the smallest 3-digit number. Okay, so my number should be divisible by 6, 9 and 12, and at the same time it should be a 3-digit number. Okay, that is it should be greater than 100. Okay, and it should be divisible by 6, 9, 12. A number would be divisible by 6, 9 and 12, all of these three, if it is a multiple of 36. So if I write 36, 72, right? 36 into 2 is 72, into 3. If I continue to write that, okay, I will come to a number which is the smallest 3-digit number and which is divisible by all of these three numbers. And how to find out, what is the method to find that out? I first take the LCM of 6, 9 and 12, which is 36. I divide that LCM 36, okay, that LCM 36, I divide the 100, the smallest number of 3 digits, by that LCM, right? And I get a quotient. Okay, I am only interested in quotient. I don't find out, I don't care about remainder. I just say 2 is the quotient. 2 into 36 is 72. So the next multiple, the very next multiple of 36, which I know for a fact is 108, would be the smallest 3-digit number which is divisible by 6, 9 and 12. Okay, so the very next number. Okay, so 2, I find the quotient of this one, which is 2, and I add 1. 2 plus 1. This is the method. Okay, so this would tell me the largest 2-digit number. This quotient, this 2 is the 72 is the largest 2-digit number. The very next number after this is the smallest 3-digit number, which is divisible by all 6, 9 and 12. That is the technique to find or solve these questions. Okay, you have to use a little bit. Don't try to condense everything to formula, because you will get confused. You have use your kind of aptitude, or use your brain a little bit. Okay, try to think through. Let's again try to think through. What is the largest number of 3 digits which is divisible by 6, 9 and 12? What is the largest possible number of 3 digits? Let's write that down. 999. Okay, this is the largest 3 digits number. After that 1000, which is the 4-digit number. So this is the largest 3-digit number. Let's try to divide this number by LCM. LCM is 36. The result is 27. Okay, so 27 is quotient. Okay, the quotient of this division is 27. So 27 into 36. Okay, 27 into 36 is the 27 into 36 is the largest or 3-digit number. It is the largest 3-digit number which is completely divisible by 6, 9 and 12. If I do it 28, right, if I change it 27 to 28 and I do into 36, this would be the smallest 4-digit number. This is the largest 3-digit number. Okay, and I am only interested in quotient. I only found out the quotient of this one. Okay, I am not interested in remainder. And this will be smallest 4-digit number, which is completely divisible by 6, 9 and 12. Okay, and the number is completely divisible by 6, 9 and 12 only if it is completely divisible by their LCM, which is 36. Okay, so notice that all of these numbers are of course multiples of 36. All we are trying to find out are multiples of 36. Okay, and in this case my answer is largest number of 3 digits divisible by 6, 9 and 12 is 27 by 30, 27 into 36. If I was asked the smallest number of 4 digits, I would say 28 into 36. This is what I would say. Okay, but I have not been asked this, so this is not my answer. This is my answer. Okay, for largest number. Let's move on to the next example. Okay, so this is just a variant. Okay, in this we are not doing any more tricks. Okay, I'm not. It's just the next step. Instead of finding the LCM, instead of stopping at the LCM of 6, 9 and 12, which is 36, I have to find the multiple of 36 which also satisfies this condition. Okay, either it's the smallest number of n digits or largest number of n digits. I have to just go to that multiple and then stop. Okay, that is all I am doing. Now this question is slightly tricky. Okay, you have to kind of understand it a little bit. It's very easy to get confused in this question. Okay, so listen very carefully. Listen and understand this very carefully. Smallest number when divided by x, y and z leaves the same remainder r. So I have to find a number which when divided by x, y and z would always leave the same remainder r. So in this case, what is the smallest number which is divisible by 6, 9 and 12? Right? Let's understand this with an example. What is the smallest number which is divisible by all of these three? That is nothing but our LCM. We know 36. 36 is fully divisible by 6, 36 is fully divisible by 9 and 36 is fully divisible by 12. What would be that number which leaves a remainder 2 every time? Right? When I divide that number by 6, I should get a remainder of 2. If I add 2 to this LCM 36, I get 38. Right? Can 38 be that number? Let's think. 6 divided by 38. Okay, if 38 divided by 6. If I divide 38 by 6, 36 is fully divisible. Right? Till 36, my number is fully divisible. I know because 36 is the LCM, and 36 till 36 number is fully divisible. What I am left with? I am left with the remainder of 2. Similarly, 9 till 36 is fully divisible. I will be left with remainder 2. Similarly for 12, right? If I divide 38 by 12 till 36, I am fully divisible and I am left with a remainder of 2. So in this case, in all of these cases, okay, don't confuse it with SCF problems, right? It's very easy to confuse this with SCF problem. I have not been asked to find out the factor of x, y and z. I have been asked to find a multiple, a number which is completely divisible by x, y and z. Oh, not completely, but it is divisible by x, y and z, and I get a remainder of r. Okay, so I have been asked a multiple. This is a multiple problem, not a factor problem. So it somehow involves LCM. Think about that. Okay, so in this case my number is nothing but LCM of 6, 9 and 12 plus this remainder 2. This number, when I divide it by 6, 9 and 12, the LCM part would completely divide. It would not give me any remainder, and I will be left with remainder 2 in each case. Right? Very simple. Okay, once you understand it, it comes very naturally. It becomes very easy for you. Now this is slightly more trickier. Okay, so we are trying to solve trickier and trickier problems as we go along. Okay, but don't think that these problems are not asked. This is indeed asked in many exams. This is asked, but this is slightly tricky. So now what I have been asked is I have to find the number, the smallest number, which when divided by x, y and z. Okay, so I divide that number by x, I divide that number by y, and I divide that number by z. In each case, instead of getting the same remainder, right? Last time, in the last kind of problems, we got the same remainder. Instead of getting the same remainder, I am getting different remainders a, b and c. Okay. As soon as you get this kind of problems, the first thing you should check. Okay, so first you will see there is a smallest keyword here, so this might be an LCM problem. Second thing that you will see, when divided, which means that I am been asked to find a multiple, so it's not a factor problem. And third thing you see, it has different remainders. Okay, so you notice these three things. The first thing you do, okay, is you find the difference between x minus a, y minus b and z minus c. You find out the difference between these divisors, okay, these numbers x, y and z and their corresponding remainders. If these remainders are same, okay, if these differences are same, right, I call them common difference d. Okay, so this d is a variable that we'll use. Okay, we have given it a name. If these differences are same, then I can use the technique which I am going to tell you next. Right? Only when these differences are same, x minus a, y minus b and z minus c, I can use this technique. Otherwise, I cannot use this technique. I have to use some other technique. But in most of the exams, you will find that if remainders are different in an LCM problem, they would satisfy this relationship. Okay, so in most exams, in most problems, 99% of the problems can be solved. So let's look at an example and learn this, try to understand that technique. So let's try to find out the smallest number, which when divided by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it leaves remainder of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first thing I'll do is find the difference, common difference. Try to see the difference. I'll do 2 minus 1, 3 minus 2, 4 minus 3, 5 minus 4 and 6 minus 5. And I immediately notice that the difference in each of these cases is 1. Okay, this is the first thing I notice. Okay, so now let's try to understand one simple thing. One simple, very, very simple thing. What happens when I divide 9 by 5? Okay, I am trying to divide 9 by 5. So the quotient is 1. Okay, so quotient is equal to 1 and remainder is equal to 4. Okay, so because 5 ones are 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9. So remainder is 4. So quotient is 1 and remainder is 4. If I find the difference between this 5 and this 4, okay, I know that 9 is not divisible by 5. I know 10 is divisible by 5. Okay, so 10 is completely divisible by 5. 9 is not. But what if I find the difference between 5 and 4? Right, the number here 5 in the denominator and the remainder 4. What do I get? 1. What does this tell me? This tells me that this 9 is 1 short, 1 less than being completely divisible by 5. This is what this is telling me. It tells me that if instead of 9 I had 10, that number would be 100% completely divisible by 5. Right? So if I subtract the remainder, this 4 from 5, I get 1, and this tells me that this 9 is 1 short of being completely divisible by 10. So what is this difference telling me here? This 2 minus 1, 3 minus 2 and 4 minus 3, this 1, this common difference d. What is this telling me? The common difference of 1, right? D is equal to 1. What this is telling me? It is telling me that the number that I am going to find out, this number that I am going to find out is 1 short, it's 1 less than being completely divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what is that number which is completely divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? What is that number? What is the smallest number completely divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? It is nothing but LCM. LCM of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 60. I know that. And my number which would leave these remainders is 1 short of 60. It is nothing but 60 minus 1, which is 59. So 59 is the number which, when divided by 2, would leave a remainder 1. When divided by 3, would leave a remainder 2. When divided by 5, would leave a remainder 4, and so on and so forth. So this number, this common difference, tells me that my given number, the number that I am trying to find out, is 1 short of being the LCM. That is what you have to understand here. In these kind of questions, okay, this is the key. This common difference is the key. And all I have to do is find the LCM of these numbers and subtract the common difference. And this is the answer. This is the answer. Okay. Very simple. Okay. Once you understand it, it becomes simple. Okay. Now, what I am going to tell you is this. Okay. I'll again emphasize it. I emphasized it, I think, enough, that this formula is only valid, it can only be used, this technique can only be used if I have a common difference D. If I don't have a common difference D, then I have to use some other technique. This thing is a special case. This entire thing, the entire description is a special case of CRT, or Chinese remainder theorem. It is known as the constant case. The difference, the common difference D is constant, is same. It is known as the constant case of Chinese remainder theorem. Chinese remainder theorem is a general thing. This is just a specific kind of a specific case of Chinese remainder theorem in which we have constant differences. Okay. Let's move on to the summary slide. I think this is what is next. Okay, so this is the LCM problems, again 4 types. This is the summary. You have to remember this formula. Okay, you have to understand. In the previous slides, from the previous slides we already understand. Okay, from this slide we have to, this slide is kind of you have to remember these things. So smallest number divisible by x, y and z, by the very definition, that is the LCM. The smallest number of n digits divisible by x, y and z, we have to find the correct multiple of x, y and z. Okay, so multiple of LCM of x, y and z. So not only I have to find the LCM, I first find the LCM and then I find the multiple of LCM which satisfy this condition. Okay, which satisfy this condition. That is all I have to do. The smallest number when divided by x, y and z, it leaves the remainder r. So LCM is completely divisible by x, y and z. I have to find the number which leaves a remainder r. So I add r. That is the formula. And then this is the last thing that we discussed. It is somewhat tricky. The smallest number when divided by x, y and z leaves remainder a, b and c. So as long as this condition is satisfied, as long as I have a common difference d, x between x minus a, y minus b and z minus c, if I get a common difference d, I can say that this number is nothing but, I can find this number by first finding the LCM of, sorry, this should not be, this is wrong, LCM of x, y and z, and then subtracting the common difference d. So I first find the LCM of x, y and z, and then I subtract d. This is the number. This is the formula for finding the number. Now in some cases, what we are told, right? I mean, what we are asked, right? Sometimes you will find variations to these basic problems. Okay, nothing special. Okay, nothing special. You don't have to learn any new concept. But similarly, like, so we already looked at one variation here. So instead of stopping at LCM in this case, right, we had to go to some multiple of LCM because of this added condition. Okay, so similarly, I can form variations to this and this also. Okay, and this is what is being told in this slide. Sometimes I have asked to find the smallest or largest number of n digits which when divided by this leaves remainder r. So in this case, instead of stopping at LCM, first I find the correct multiple. I find the correct multiple of LCM and then add R to it. Very simple. Similarly, in this case, when I first find the multiple of x, y and z, of LCM of x, y and z. First I find the correct multiple which satisfies this condition and then subtract common difference from it. Very simple, as that. Okay. So there is no new concept here. Instead of stopping at LCM, I am going to some multiple of LCM and then adding R. Instead of stopping at LCM, I am going to some multiple of LCM and then subtracting D, such that this n digit condition is satisfied. That is all. So now let's look at examples. I have taken 2 examples, not very complicated. They are somewhat, actually they are easy. It won't be very difficult for you. So in the first example, I have to find the greatest number of 5 digits. Okay, greatest number of 5 digits, which when divided by 9, 12, 24 and 45. So I am dividing that number by 9, 12, 24 and 45 and I get these remainders respectively. So this is what? Divided by. So this is an LCM problem. First thing, this is what I noticed. Second thing which I notice is different remainders. So in an LCM remainder problem, if I have different remainders, what is the first thing I do? I find the common difference. So the first thing I do is I try to find out 9 minus 3, I try to see 12 minus 6, I try to see 24 minus 18 and 45 minus, I calculate these numbers, right? And in each case, this is nothing but 6. So this is my common difference, 6. And I know, because the common difference, there is a common difference and it is 6, I know that I can use my formula. And what was my formula? I have to find the LCM of these 4 numbers and then subtract the common difference 6. So my answer is nothing but LCM of 9, 12, 24 and 45. Okay. And just to recap, right, we already discussed this, but when you are asked to find LCM of numbers, first thing you should do is you should check. So in this case 12 is a multiple of 24, so we don't have to consider 12 at all. If I find the LCM of 24 and 45, right, 9 is a multiple of 45. If I find the LCM of 24 and 45, it would automatically be divisible by 9 and 12. So I can completely ignore 9 and 12 in my calculations. I can simply find LCM of 24 and 45 and that is nothing but 360. Okay, and this 360, and I know that there is a common difference 6 involved here, but there is also this added condition of greatest number of 5 digits. So I have to first go to the right multiple of 360. I have to go to the right multiple of 360. What is the greatest number of 9 digits? Greatest number of 9 digits is 99999. I divide it by 360. Okay. And I get the quotient of this one. Okay, and I get the quotient of this one, and then I get the quotient of that one divided by 360. I add 1 to it, and I don't add 1 to it. I just get the quotient of this one, and then I multiply it by 360. So, which is nothing but 99720. So, what I have done here, to find the greatest number of 5 digits which is completely divisible by 9, 12, 40 and 45, 24 and 45, I have taken 99999, okay, 99,999. I divide it by 360. I take only the quotient, leave the remainder, and that quotient I multiply by 360. This is the greatest number of 5 digits which is completely divisible by these 4 numbers. Okay. Now this number is completely divisible by these 4 numbers. What was our common difference? Our common difference was 6. Okay. The number that I am interested in is 6 short of being the LCM of being the 100% divisible. So my number is this minus 6, which is equal to 99714. So 99714, when this number is divided by 9, I get a remainder of 3. When divided by 12, I will get a remainder of 6, and so on and so forth. And this is nothing but common difference. This is the common difference. This is the difference between 9 and 3, 12 and 6, 24 and 18, and so on, 45 and 39. So in this question, we have used all the concept. We have used the concept of common difference. We have used the we have not stopped at the LCM, but we have gone to the right multiple. Okay, and we have also used the LCM, the concept of LCM. So this is in this one problem we have covered all the questions, all the concepts in this class. So if you are able to understand this, you are done. Let's move on to the next problem. This is simple. I have to find the number, the smallest number, when I add 23 to that number. Okay, when I add 23 to that smallest number, that number is divisible by 32, 36, 48 and 96. Okay, so let's try to find out the LCM of these four numbers. Let's try to find out the number which is 100% divisible by these numbers, the smallest number which is 100% divisible by these numbers. So what is that? That would be the LCM of 96, 48, 36 and 32, which is 288. Now 288 is 100% divisible. I am not interested in 288. I am interested in finding the number finding that number to which when I add 23, it becomes the LCM. Okay, it becomes divisible by these numbers. I have to find that number. So if I do 288 minus 23, which is equal to 265. Okay, if I add 23 to 265, I get 288, which is 100% divisible by these numbers. So the answer is 265. 265 is the number on which, right, if I add 23, to which if I add 23, I get the number, I get the smallest number which is divisible by these numbers. Again simple, right? The only trick here was to subtract, to know that you have to subtract 23. Right? Many people, or maybe some people, okay, would instead of subtracting 23, add 23, which is wrong. Okay. Now this one is slightly tricky, not tricky. I mean, if you it uses a slightly different concept. It uses a tangential concept. It uses a slightly tangential concept. It uses the concept of combinatorics. It is permutation and combination. If you know, right? So if you know about the combinatorics, the combinations specifically, then you can easily solve this problem. So I am interested in finding a number which, when divided by 12, 15 or 48, would leave a remainder of 10. So what is that number? So let's stop here. Let's try to find the number which 12, 15 and 48, when I divide that number by 12, 15 and 48, in each case I get a remainder of 12. So what is the LCM of 12, 15 and 48? It is nothing but 240. But I am not interested in LCM. I have to find that number which leaves the remainder of 10. So if I add 10 to 240, okay, so my number is LCM of 12, 15, 48 plus 10, which is equal to 240 plus 10, which is equal to 250. So 250 is the number which, when divided by 12, 15 and 48, would in each case leave a remainder of 10. But can I stop here? Can I stop at 250? No, I cannot. What I have been asked? I have been asked to find the number of divisors of 250. I have been asked to find the number of divisors. What are all the possible divisors? Right? What are all the possible numbers? Right? What is the count? What are all the I don't have to list the numbers. I have to count the number of possible divisors, or count the number of possible numbers which can completely divide 250. I have to just give a count, not list them. So let's write 250 as 5 raised to power 3 into 2 raised to power 1. Okay, so I have written 5 raised to power 3 into 2 raised to power 1. I have done the prime factorization of 250 and I have listed and I have expressed it in power form. So I have to find the number of possible divisors, all the number of possible divisors of this one. So if I take 5, it is 100%, it would divide 250, so 5 is a divisor. If I take 5 into 5 square, that would be divisor too. Okay, so number of ways from 5 raised to power 3, which is 5, 5 and 5, to choose to create a divisor, a number which can divide 250 is 3 plus 1. Either I can choose 1 5 or I can choose 2 5s or I can choose 3 5s, okay, or I can not choose any 5s. Okay, 1 is of course a divisor of 250, 1 divides 250. So even if I don't choose a single 5, okay, in creating a divisor, even if I don't choose a single 5, I don't choose 5 at all, I am left with 1 at the minimum, and 1 would divide 250. So the answer is, so I can choose the 5s in 3 plus 1 4 ways, and I can choose my 2s, either I can choose 1 2 or no 2 at all. I can choose my 2s in 2 ways. Okay, so the answer is 3 plus 1 into 1 plus 1, which is 2, 3 plus 1 is 4 into 2, 8. So there are 8 possible divisors, 8 possible numbers which can divide 250, and that is the answer. Right, so this is slightly tricky, right? We have to, again, we don't stop at 250. At 250 we can stop just by knowing what is taught in this lesson, what is taught in this class. To go further, right, to solve the problem, I really need to know the combinatorics, which we'll discuss in subsequent classes. So please subscribe to our channel, okay, which we'll discuss how we got here. But those of you who already know combinatorics, okay, who know permutations and combinations, can appreciate this. Okay. Now in the next class, I glanced at this one a little bit in this class also. I glanced at this topic, Chinese remainder theorem. It's important because in some exams, right, not in many exams, but in some exams, there would be one problem which can only be solved if you know Chinese remainder theorem. So it's important from that perspective. And in the next class, we would be trying to understand what is Chinese remainder theorem, not in the fullest, but only the parts applicable to us, only the parts which are used in aptitude exams. Okay. So one example problem is given here. So if I know my Chinese remainder theorem or its basics, I can solve this problem. Whereas by techniques given in this class, we cannot really solve this problem. So I have to find the smallest number which when divided by 7, 9 and 11 produces 1, 2 and 3 as remainders. So first thing I do is I notice divided by here, I notice the smallest, and I know that this is an LCM problem. Okay. The next thing I notice is remainders are different. So what do? I try to find out the common difference. Of course, common difference in this case is not the same, right? It's not really common. So the difference is not the same. It's 6, 7 and 8, which is not same. So I cannot use the techniques of this class. But I do notice one thing. If I double my remainder, I get a constant difference. I get a common difference. So I do notice this, and we'll tell you in the next class, I'll tell you how we can solve these kind of problems using Chinese remainder theorem, and we'll discuss several examples like this class. So hope you enjoyed this session on LCM and SCF. To keep getting future updates, please subscribe to our channel. If you have questions and doubts, you can put them in the comments and I'll try my level best to answer those as quickly as possible. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Happy study.